Hi guys, welcome to this module on Microsoft Excel. In this session, I'm going to look at how to use Solver. Now, Solver is an add-in which appears on the Data tab once you've activated it. So to show you that, you just go to the File tab, Options, and then Add-ins, and down the bottom there you go, click on that Go button, and then you tick the Solver add-in, click OK, and then job done. So I've already done it, so I'm just going to cancel that off. Now, why do you use Solver? It's part of the what if analysis tools that you may be familiar with, Scenario Manager, Goal Seek, Data Table. It works in a similar way. This scenario here is you've worked out your projected budget and you've come up with a figure of 201,000, but your boss has just said you're only going to get 150,000, so you need to make some adjustments. So you've decided that each sector, training, marketing and wages, cannot exceed £70,000 spend, and then each quarter cannot exceed 55,000, which obviously that one is at the moment. So they're all within scope, but that one's not. So you're going to ask Solver to sort it out for you. Now, all you do is you go to Solver. Now I've obviously filled this one in. So the set objective cell, F6, is that cell, to a value of £150,000. These are the changing cells, B3 to F5, so that's the yellow cells, B3 to F5, they're the variables. And then you set constraints. So the constraints are the two constraints that I've just mentioned, F3 to F5, F3 to F5 cannot be greater than 70,000. B3 to E5, these yellow cells, cannot be less than 0, so we don't get any negatives. And then B6 to E6, B6 to E6 cannot be greater than 55,000. So then you ask it to solve it by just clicking Solve. And then it comes up with this box asking you, do you want me to keep this solution or save it as a scenario? You can save these as scenarios by clicking this button, and we've just done scenarios at an earlier video, so you should be able to remember that. But I'm just going to click OK, and it sets it for me. But when you look at the figures, you can see it's been a bit random with the wages. They're up and down, and wages are more likely to be more constant than that. So what I'm going to do is go back into it and add another constraint to fix these at £17,000. Back up to Solver. So add, and then the constraint is going to be, if I highlight these cells, they have got to be equals to 17,000. So that's now going to, I don't need to click add, unless I'm going to do another one. So just OK to that. That's going to force that to stick at 17. So something else, probably marketing or training, is going to be affected. But if I click Solve and then OK, it's still saying 150. The wages are set at 17. Marketing is up and down, and so is training. So again, you can go back in there and set constraints. So set this to 10,000. That would probably work. In fact, I will do that just to give you another go at it so you can see what I'm doing. So add constraint. So this time I'll say marketing is going to equals 10,000. Then OK. Eventually you'll keep doing this, and then eventually it will not solve it. It will say there's a problem, can't be solved. So at the moment this has solved it, and training's gone. Not too bad, but training is reduced slightly, having fixed these two. So that's that example. A more simplistic example which you can do at home is for household expenses. So these are my expenses. So I've got two categories, food and entertainment, which I'm going to say are variable and can move. And at the moment, this is costing me £15,000. If I go into Solver I've got this £10,000, so I've only got a budget of £10,000. These are the fixed constraints, so they're all the direct debits, car, gas, water, etc., electric loans, phone. They're set in stone, and that's the amounts. Now, if I solve this, it will adjust those two yellow rows, and then let's see what we're left with. Not a lot by the looks of it. Clicking OK to that. So according to this, if I've only got 10,000 to spend, I'm only going to get £30 entertainment, and food is down to £2.17. So really, entertainment should be knocked on the head, but I know that wouldn't happen. So if you've got young kids at university, you could get them to do this, and then they'll know what their constraint is. Now, the next one, product mix, is a bit more involved, and it's not using set value, it's using a maximum feature. I want to know what the maximum profit is going to be based on some of this criteria. So I've got TV sets, stereos and speakers, and then we've got these items. So you've got these chassis for a TV, picture tube, cone and all that sort of stuff. It's quite an old example. Picture tube. You've got how many you've got in stock, and what you want Solver to tell you is how many are going to be used based on the criteria, i.e. one of those, two of those, one of those, and two of those for a TV, and then the stereo mix is that one, and the speaker mix is that one. Now in the red cells, you've got a formula. It says there D5, which is this light blue cell, times D7, which is the number of those, and the next line down it'll say D8, and so on, D9. So whatever figure comes up in there, that's going to be multiplying it, and it's going to give you an answer. And it also says E5 and E7, E5 and E7, and F5 and E7. So that's how it works. That's how it's going to multiply. Now the profits are going to look at D5, that light blue cell, and times it by the price of this TV of £75, or £75, and the stereo is going to be £50 and £35 for the speaker. Now the functions there are going to give you the figures, and that's just a sum function adding these up, and Solver will work this out for you if you click on Solver. So now we've not got set a value of, we've got maximum, so D14, which is where I am at the moment, to a maximum value based on these constraints. C7 to C11, which are the red cells, must be less than, you can't use more stock than you've actually got in column B. So they must be less than B7 to B11, which they are. And D5 to F5, the light blue cells, must be over 50. I'm going to say minimum is going to be 50. And then you click Solve, and then click OK, and it tells you there that your maximum profit, and that, if that is the mix, is £24,000. You can see you've not used quite a few of these. So if you was looking at stock, you could say, well, we're holding too many of them in stock. Likewise, these power supplies, too many of those in stock, most of the others and these. So the only things that you've used up really is these cones and the electrics. So that's another example of Solver, and that's a simple household one. That's the budget one. This is a bit more involved, and then the exercise, I'll just go through this exercise with you. So in this example, we have a budget, telephone budget is not to exceed 1,500, telephone, okay, in any month, and then cleaning costs will be high in month 3, they'll be greater than 3,000. So we want the actual budget to be at 24, we want it to be 23. So you go into Solver, you set value of 23,000. In fact, the cell, we've got the right cell, F13, yeah, 23,000. The changing cells are all the yellow cells. And then the criteria is add the telephone is going to be less than or equal to 1,500. you're going to add another one, and cleaning costs, this one is going to be greater than 3,000 in the third month. So we click OK to that, and then we click solve, and then OK, and it's solved it. You just check they're all 1,500, that's over 3,000, so you force that to do the business. And that's basically how you use Solver. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you on the next session.